From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this Thursday's edition of For the People. It's March the 9th. It's 2017, and I just got a new toy. I'm like a kid in a candy store today. Seriously, man, when you're missing stuff I had a device break on me. It's called a instant replay. If you're in radio, you know what that means. But the older one broke, so I ended up having to put my change together and empty my piggy banks and get another one. And a new one, and this one's newer because the one that I had, because I'm cheap, was $19.99. I was trying to save some money, and the hard drive, it failed on it. It had a 50-pin SCSI drive. Now you can still get those, and I tried and ordered it, and I have this 50-pin SCSI, but I'm not a repair guy. When you open up these things get on loose and untied, and I have one now that's probably spare parts, and so I'll hang on to that in case down the line I might need something for this one. It's similar, but it's got newer drives, and hopefully this thing will last as long as the other one did. $19.99 being in service that long, that's pretty darn good. All right, talking about service, Donald Trump had a big showing at the Trump Tower, except he wasn't there. Hundreds of female demonstrators gathered around the Trump Tower yesterday. More than a dozen people, though, were arrested during a Day Without a Woman rally. And all sorts of wacky signs were presented, saying that he's a misogynist and he's this and he's that and all, and women can say what they will about him, but I just kind of wonder because I know a lot of women, and the successful ones, they're either at the house raising a family, which that's a job in itself, doing a fine job, or they're building careers for themselves. They don't have time for this. To be out on the streets doing that, is saying, and then chanting, wah, wah, hoo-wah, hoo-wah, Donald Trump, what was it exactly? Oh, okay, the chanting was, hey, hey, ho, ho, Trump has got to go, according to the Daily News. And that's the New York Daily News. Now, some of the protesters, they brought posters along with demonstration signs that read, women's rights are human rights, and P ... power. Okay. And then 13 arrests made. I'm sure that all the women that participated in this march, I am certain, weren't like the 13 that were arrested. But that's a lot to be arrested for. They were just told to just not be in the middle of the street. And they were asked very nicely by the New York Police Department, and they didn't do it. And they went into the paddy wagon, and there they go. And among those arrested during the protest was Linda Sarsour, Tamika Malloy, Carmen Perez, and Bob Bland, all co-chairs of the Women's March organization. And the NYPD put Sarsour in a paddy wagon, as they put it, and protesters surrounded it, singing and chanting for her release, according to Isaac Saul, a reporter at A+, and was told by the Huffington Post. So this comes after the millions of women that have, around the world, apparently, have filled the streets marching and protesting on the day after Trump was sworn into the office, says one newspaper, trying to put it together with this rally. There have been marches, and then there's been other marches. So it wasn't the same. It was something different. I'm all for equality. I was talking to my 14-year-old daughter, and I was just, joking around. And I said, I really support women and what they do right now. Women can do things now, and we're living different times. Well, we've lived in different times. I know women that run garages. They don't just answer the phone. They actually work on cars. They get underneath it, and they do tune-ups, muffler changes. Whatever's wrong with that car, they know. They know more about the car than I do. Thank you very much. Very intelligent women. I mean, this, for our country, World War II, if it wasn't for the women back home making the parts for the planes and the bombs and keeping the country going, we wouldn't have a country. So thank you for all the hard-working women out there that listen to this broadcast or may stumble upon the broadcast one day, but thank you. Honor women. Respect women. And you know what? I really like the idea that Donald Trump's daughter, Ivanka Trump, who the mainstream media has tried to do a pretty good job villainizing her, but she is a strong advocate for women. They smeared her because she was nothing more than Donald Trump's daughter. So Macy's decides we're not going to carry the Ivanka Trump line anymore. And besides the fact, sales have they've been dwindling. Is that right? And then Nordstrom's, they follow, and then those numbers dwindled, and we can't carry it. And why is it then that the Ivanka Trump line now is up 300% from last month? 300%. If the numbers are so bad, why is that? Women are buying in the tens of thousands all over the world. Millions are buying her products online, up 300%. I'm not even kidding. Because she respects women, and she's fighting for that equality in the workplace, so women actually get paid at least as much as a man, because it's fair. It's right. If you do the job, you do your job, you should get paid for it. And for too long, women have been making less. It's not everywhere, but a lot of places, and not treated as they should be treated. Now, I'm a traditionalist, okay? I think that you should open the door for a woman. I'm sorry. That kind of traditionalist, but I do believe that if a woman wants to do a job and she can do the job and she can do it well, an exception, she gets paid the same as a man. Let her do it. Women can, there's not really a whole lot of things that women can't do. So I respect women. I respect my mother, my grandmother, my aunts. You got to respect women. You really do. And if you had bad examples, I'm sorry. But each one of us that are male, if it wasn't for the woman, whether you loved your mother, you didn't think you did, or she mistreated you, or she threw you down the stairs one too many times, whatever it was, you're here because of her. And so respect women. And by the way, I can say this because I'm not subject to program directors. Go buy Ivanka Trump shoes or apparel and go on her website and bring it to 400 or 500%. But that should say something, don't you think, to Nordstrom's or to Macy's, losing out on that money. And you know what, Ivanka, at this point, if Macy's or Nordstrom's wanted to come back, sign another contract, I don't even think she'd take him back. Maybe Dillard's will sell the line. Fine store, fine department store. Seriously, they sell very nice things. And if you look for nice things, Dillard's has it. Dillard's has it. And they're family owned. They're family owned and operated. So check out a Dillard's near you. But I was very disappointed because the same crap happened when Donald Trump announced that Macy's, they did away with the Donald Trump line for ties. And when I actually do wear a tie, and I used to wear ties a lot more often when I lived in D.C. and New York City, but, you know, you do a radio show from Tampa, Florida, you can get away with wearing jeans and a golf shirt or something like that. You don't have to dress up too much. And besides the fact, you're just wanting to hear my voice anyways. But when I do, Donald Trump makes some pretty darn good ties. And even if I wasn't going to buy one, and I've learned this from a woman, just because you go shopping doesn't mean you don't buy anything. You don't have to buy anything. You shop. Then you find a deal. Then you buy. Women are always shopping. You learn something from a woman. Women are always shopping. They don't always buy things. But when they find a deal, guess what? And they're so pleased. And I've become that way as I've gotten older. Trying to stretch a buck a little bit further. You know how it is. There was a time where I would just throw those stupid coupons, but I would think that they were because my mother actually used to do it. And, 5 kids. We used to go into a grocery store, and she would have them all cut out, and then she'd hand them over. And we'd just sit there, and, oh, boy, here we go. And, it was just as aggravating, apparently, to the cash register, or the cashier. They didn't like it. But they did their job, and then they would say, "Ma'am, you saved $75, or you saved $60." And I'm like, wow, Mom's not so stupid, is she? So for all you couponers that have been cutting these things out, or you go to Walgreens or CVS and they spit these things out of the register, save them, cut them. Put them in your wallet, guys. If you can get $2 off some coffee or $3 off, it adds up. There's no excuse now not to go on a cruise or do something you want to do for somebody you love. Save all sorts of kind of money. And some of these women that are here, they're big couponers. There's websites, too, that allow you to print out all sorts of different types of coupons. Ibotta, I believe that's one of the big ones, yeah. That's one of the big ones, actually, Ibotta. And you can download the app on your phone, and you get paid for buying their merchandise. They'll actually throw back money to you. It's real savings, Ibotta. So check that out. So there's a consumer tip for you, trying to save some money and to be smart about it. But, guys need to be smart that way, too, and be frugal with your money. And some of you have been smart, but I'm just saying, I'm being transparent here. I wasn't always that way. And now I guess you actually you cross over a certain point of no return. In age, when you go past 42, you're saying to yourself, I don't care anymore. That person wants to look at me funny in the line, that's fine. And then they bark out the savings and said, you saved $30. Good for you. And then I say, good for me. Here's a headline for you. This is kind of interesting. Rand Paul trying to pull the wool over Trump's eyes. Senator Rand Paul, Kentucky, widening his rift with House Speaker Paul Ryan over Obamacare. And this replacement bill that we've been talking about the last several days, accusing the Wisconsin lawmaker of trying to trick President Donald Trump, into supporting the measure. He says, I don't think it makes any sense, and I think he's trying to pull the wool over the eyes of President. And Rand Paul is telling Breitbart News, discussing my opposition to Obamacare. Breitbart. So here's Senator Rand Paul. I think, when I have spoken with President Trump, I think that he agrees with me that we should repeal and replace, but I don't think he's stuck on that they have to be in the same bill necessarily, the Kentucky Republican told the conservative news outlet. Paul Ryan, I think, is selling it to the White House and telling the White House, oh, it's a piece of cake, it's a done deal. Paul is among the conservatives who have blasted Ryan's health care plan, and tensions appear to be escalating between them. Paul joined several House Democrats in mocking search for health care bills.